Hello. Um, Sorry, you guys get to see a lot of me. I feel like we all just talked. It was great. Um, there were a few things that from the reading the past couple weeks um, that I wanted to share about today, and a lot of it um, I was really excited to be able to apply to the teaching that we're going to be doing in the next couple weeks for our participants. So the majority of this stuff I wanted to apply was from the CES manual, chapter 4, and then chapter 6, different things that we talked about that I wanted to share. So first, from the CES manual, I really liked our participant. We feel really needs some spiritual as well as I don't know, world education on family life, but the spiritual side of things, I really like the idea of teaching by the Spirit in the first section that we read. Teaching by the Spirit makes up for the shortcomings that we have as teachers, or that the learners have. When we teach by the Spirit, it can make up for whatever we're lacking in, and it can benefit both parties, and both can feel uplifted by the end of the lesson. As teachers and educators, we can help meet conditions for our learners to get the most out of lessons. A couple of the things that I really liked in the reading that I'm excited to use are to use different teaching approaches to avoid the students getting bored, which we'll talk about later because we had an entire chapter on how to use different teaching situations. I like the idea that they gave of activities that require using more than one of the senses. So instead of just sitting and listening, and we talked about this in our session earlier, just to sit and listen to someone gets a little tiring after a while, but to have something to look at, a diagram or a PowerPoint or even a video clip where you're seeing and hearing it is going to be a lot more effective than if you were just listening to the same person's voice for 45 minutes. A little tiring. They also gave the idea, the manual also talks about giving the students time to meditate on the ideas that we've taught. So either at the end of the lesson or even partway through, and then reminding them towards the end of things that you talked about that you want them to think about before you meet again, so that you have something to follow up on. That's always something really, really effective when you give them something to meditate on, and then you can talk about next time and build from that. I had a question. I don't know if any of you might have an answer, but do you plan to start and end your lessons that you're teaching with a prayer or not? It's something I've kind of been going back and forth on. I don't know if it's yay or nay. Anyway, I'm open to thoughts and on that. From the textbook, Chapter 4, Designing Effective Instruction, the easiest way for me to relate that was to writing an essay and how to be the most effective in your instruction. So when you're writing an effective essay, you're going to start with the attention getter, something that is either a story or experience or questions, and then you're going to state your thesis or your lesson goals, the things that you're going to prove. And then you're going to use your 3 body paragraphs or the body of your lesson to prove the ideas. And then you're going to summarize the things that you covered, and then you're going to refer back to the attention getter or the story, so that it kind of all comes together nicely for the participant. Doing this kind of makes it a little more well-rounded, and I think packs a harder punch just because it is more organized than just kind of throwing it all together and here's some great ideas and some quotes and not really having the flow. So I kind of treat lessons like I would writing a 5-paragraph essay, which keeps it easier, not as overwhelming for me. In chapter 6, teaching skills and tools, I really loved this chapter. Maybe it's because I was an elementary education major once upon a time, and I loved different learning activities. But my favorite tool that was, okay, two of my favorite tools that were brought up and in our discussion today were leading group discussions and the idea of using media. So firstly, leading group discussions, I feel, is so effective in teaching someone, instead of just, like I said, sitting there and rambling on about all of these different facts and studies, to ask questions. Says family life educators present thought-provoking questions and invite participants to respond in group discussions. They work to link comments from one participant to another, or just bring forward key topics that the participant brings up, and they make sure to hit on the important points that the participant gets to themselves, which is really exciting. If they mention something and then you can tell them, yes, that's exactly what we're trying to teach you, and then build off of that, then I think their learning becomes more effective. And don't feel like we need to answer every single question that they have, but we can open it up for discussion and pondering, and then let the spirit in on that, and answer questions that way. So for leading group discussions, I really like that it was brought up in our discussion earlier that it's way more effective to have people sharing their thoughts and experiences than to just have one person doing all of the talking. It gets really, really boring. Another idea that I thought was great was using media. Like I said, you can get more than one of the senses involved, so your participant isn't just sitting there, or if they're like me, I start playing games on my phone because I'm not watching anything, so I might as well just do something mindless with my eyes while I listen with my ears. If you have media, either television clips or movie clips, it can help participants relate an abstract concept by seeing it play out in the real life situation that the media or the TV or movie clip shows. You can also use educational videos, music and photographs, books, plays, or short stories, even little fables or bedtime stories that illustrate whatever point you're trying to prove. Comic strips, cartoons, and one of the things that was brought up was also quizzes or little surveys to get your participant more involved in what you're trying to teach that lesson. So those are just a few of the points that I was really excited about applying to our lesson, and feel free to comment.